Check this out. So I was actually super stoked with how all of this worked out. I was making this little clip for my friends over at Wildflower, and the brief was cinematic, making coffee. And I feel like I nailed that, but I also wanted it to feel like it was in the morning, that it had that vibe. So I want to walk you through the behind the scenes from the shooting to the production on how I pulled this thing together. And to do that, we're gonna go remote. So this is our set right here, and this is what went into filming what you just saw. We have this big aperture 120D filling in the space. We have camera here, 2 angles to help kind of capture the coffee making process. We have a practical light in the corner. This is just a Hue Smart Globe doing a great thing. But then we have this beautiful natural sunlight coming in from the window. And the vibe that I wanted is I wanted it to feel like it was a sunrise. I wanted it to feel like we were making coffee in the morning. And this set is just thrown together in my dining room because I know that that's the spot that gets the best sun in the afternoon. And I've just framed it all up so the sun just naturally shines on the table. And that is such a good, I guess, throw together way to create that morning feeling with just, you know, a really thrown together set. So we have, like I said, the 120D filling this in, creating all that kind of soft lighting, doing the heavy lifting. Not a crazy super bright light, but it does its job really well. We have the Canon R5 over here, our main angle with a 15 to 35 millimeter RF lens, f2.8, just helps create beautiful establishing shots. It's just a great lens, and this camera is just so good. I can't say enough good things about my camera. Probably gonna review it soon, even though it's 5 years old. Anyway, Canon R6 right here with the 50mm RF f1.2, a flippin' fantastic lens. Love this lens, creating that beautiful cinematic look in our second angle while also bringing sharpness, but such depth as well. Absolutely love this lens. This camera's okay too. I mean, it's not as good as the R5, but it's pretty good. And that is our whole set. In a dining room, super thrown together, making coffee, and I think I really nailed the vibe of making it look like it was a beautiful sunrise. Now we're gonna look a little bit at the post-production, what it looked like in the editing phase of the video. Now, my editor of choice is Final Cut Pro. Don't hate me. Don't hate me for how busy my timeline looks. I know, I get it. It makes sense to me. And that's all that matters. All right, so first thing I did was I pulled all my clips onto my timeline. And because I had 2 cameras, I essentially manually synced them together. I didn't worry about like doing a auto synchronize. I just put them on top of each other. As you can see here, match the audio. So then I had 2 angles of exactly what was going on at the time. And that just helped the whole edit make sense. It would have been so confusing if I was trying to match all these different cuts up in sequence. It would have just been so confusing. So having them sit on top of each other made so much more sense. And then the next thing I did was I brought them into this timeline over here. And then this is what my edit looks like. So we've got a couple of adjustment layers, a couple of titles up the top, my music down the bottom, all my clips here. Let me make this a little bigger so you can see it. There we go. You can see it all in one. And this is the actual edit. And essentially what I've done, as you saw at the start, is I'm just cutting between the shots. But the other thing that I'm doing is I'm also doing subtle zooms, as you can see in this shot. And that was something that I wanted to try bring into the video just to help bring emphasis to different moments. So I thought that they were a good way to just bring people's attention to the shot, Similarly, I use one here as I'm slowly zooming out to give a little bit more perspective to what was going on. Now I've got a really simple title here at the start, and then I have chosen a track that I feel like brings a vibe, but is also not too distracting, trying to have some of my audio levels in it a little bit so you can just hear some of the moments so it doesn't feel awkward as you're watching it. Like, why can't I hear specific things that are going on? I'll mute the actual track. That would be helpful so you can actually tell. Fire out. But yeah, just subtle bits of audio, just so you're aware of what's going on in the scene. And then other times it's not really there because it's not that important. It's there a little bit, but it's not dominating. And then lastly, I just chuck some color in there with my color grading software. I'll open up this panel a bit more so you can see it. This is Color Finale Pro. It's just a tool that I use in Final Cut. I prefer it more than the base settings that are in Final Cut themselves. And I've just made a few different tweaks, as you can see here. I also have a little curve on this, as well as some vectors. This is the before and after the grade, just so you can see what it's doing as well. Just subtle, ever so subtle. Another thing that I will note is that I'm not super used to shooting in vertical. I actually don't like it whatsoever, but I think it's just what is happening at the moment. It's how people are consuming content, and I feel like it is way more digestible to watch something vertical rather than horizontal when you're on Instagram or TikTok whatsoever. It just makes sense when it's that way. So not something that I'm huge on, but I try implement it when I can. And so I kept that in mind as I was shooting, making sure that I kept myself in the center in this shot. And similarly, the coffee was also in the center of the other shot. It just seems like it's the easiest way to place something when you're only working with this much real estate, you know? It just makes it so much easier just to put stuff in the center. It makes it look nice as well. So that pretty much wraps up this video. Just a quick look at what went into making a reel for my friends over at Wildflower. Love those guys, they're legends. Go chuck them a follow because this ad will probably go up soon, and then you'll see it in your actual full screen in the way it was meant to be consumed on Instagram, not in a YouTube video. Anyway, I hope you are all doing well, and I will see you in the next video.